Hi there, another railway line. This time it's the disused railway between Rowsley and Bakewell in the Peak District. I know some people live out here and they tell me it should be pronounced Roseley. I have a habit of calling it Rowsley. Anyway, ahead of me is the Haddon Hall tunnel. This is a tunnel built in 1860 by the Midland Railway Company. It actually goes all the way underneath the Haddon Hall estate for, I think it's over 1,000 yards. It is sort of private. Anyway, the plan today is to get into the tunnel and explore its full length, taking as many photographs, doing a bit of filming as I can. So we're gonna walk up to the entrance of the tunnel now. Right, we're at the entrance to the tunnel. You can see behind me, you can see it's bricked up as well. Anyway, a bit of history first. In around 1850, Midland Rail Company were trying to get a railway through between Derby and Manchester. Now, they got quite a bit of it built, but they had problems in this area. Big Chatsworth estate, run by the Earl of Devonshire, wouldn't allow them to cross his land at all. So that left the Haddon Hall estate, which we're sort of on now. The Duke of Rutland, who owned the estate, decided he'd let the rail company go across his land as long as he couldn't see the train. Now, a cutting would have hid the train from view, but he did not want to see the steam or smoke rising from his gardens. I would have loved to seen a steam train go across my land. But anyway, he said, no, you've got to provide a tunnel. So the Midland Rail Company had no other option but to build, I think it's 1,086 metre yard tunnel through his land. So that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm just going to head up to the entrance to the tunnel. Right, we're at the tunnel entrance now. I thought I'll go through some of the gear I've got. Now in that tunnel, it's dark, it's dirty, it's wet in places, it's muddy. So you need some old gear on. I've got XWD gear, ex-army gear, fantastic, feel very comfortable, well made. Don't matter if you wreck it up. There is some standing water. I've got my wellies on. You'd probably get away with boots. I'm afraid my walking boots, the sole has departed from the boot, so they're away for the next 3 weeks being repaired. So I prefer wellies for something like this anyway. Now the other main thing is light, torches. This is my main torch, real powerful thing. I forgot how many lumens it is, it's an awful lot. When I first got it, I shone it around the garden. I thought, wow, it lit the garden up, the houses, the bedrooms, everything. You shine it in there, and it's good, but isn't that fantastic? The dark walls in there seem to absorb the light, so you want a really good torch. Just in case, got a spare torch on my belt, and I've also got, somewhere in my pocket, a spare torch, just in case. Other thing I found useful was a headlamp. Putting settings on the camera, changing a lens, it's good to have your hands free. So the headlamp was really useful. I usually forget that, but I've got it this time. Anyway, so we're all set up, so I'm going to enter the tunnel now. As we enter the tunnel, one of the main things to be aware of are these catch pits. Running down the centre of the tunnel, there's a 9-inch drain, and then every 50 yards there's a catch pit, 4 foot, 2 foot by 2 foot. This is designed to drain the tunnel, but in the dark, if you miss one of these, you could fall straight down. So definitely essential, you've got a good torch when you're in here. But these catch pits and drainage system does work, so the tunnel is pretty dry. It does drain the water away. I don't know if it shows up, but you can see the water flowing through. So we're going to go further into the tunnel now, and we're going to be approaching shaft number 1 soon. This is ventilation shaft 1. You can see it's lighting up the catch pit in front and the 2 refuges on the right. This is a high section of tunnel, so the ventilation shaft was built here so it wouldn't act as a smoke trap and it would vent out easily. This is a modern 1913 refuge. Due to the natural light, you can see a lot of moss is growing, a lot of ferns as well. There's also a lot of shotgun cartridges. I assume they were probably having a shoot up on the Haddon estate, and at the end of the shoot they threw all the cartridges down the air shaft. We're about 110 yards into the tunnel now. We're underneath ventilation shaft number 1. Nice to have a bit of natural light to film in. Filming, taking pictures in the dark tunnel is difficult, and it does cause a call for different techniques. Technique known as light painting. Now I've read up, and this is my interpretation of it, and it has given some good results. So I've got my SLR camera, I've got a Sigma 10x20 zoom lens. I've set it on 10mm to get as much in as possible. I've also set the focus to infinity. The camera is set to manual. ISO I've set to 100. The white balance, I read you either turn it off. I found a setting of 5400 Kelvin on mine. I think that's a bit like the LED light, so I've set it to that. Results seem acceptable. Trying to think of anything else. The aperture I've set to around f8, but you can vary it. Obviously the higher you go up, the more light. So on that basis, I set my camera up down there looking into a dark tunnel, and then the interesting part comes in. Now the shutter is manual. You can set it varies. I've got, for this demonstration, I've set it at 60 seconds, which is a long time. So you open your shutter, pitch black, get your torch on, and then you're basically moving the torch continuous for the next 60 seconds, painting the walls with light, going for the darker sections, or where it's smoky and black. Get a lot of light in there. The floor's a bit lighter colour, might not need so much light. Further down the tunnel, it's very dark. You're going to put a lot of light down there. So you do this for about 60 seconds, as long as you've got whatever you've got the shutter set to. You got to experiment. Try 30 seconds, try 60. I have done some as long as 120 seconds. And then, when you've done all that, let it process, which takes an age, and then have a look at your picture, and hopefully you should get something like this. Just past shaft number 1, which we were looking at, on the right hand side here, we've got a spring entering the tunnel. It's very wet outside, so there is a lot of water coming in. But hopefully the central drain and the catch pits will take all this water away, and it shouldn't be too wet in the tunnel. Leaving air shaft number 1 with a great view down a clear section of tunnel. This is air shaft number 2. It's 10 foot deep from the surface, and it's in a low arch section of the tunnel. We've just come out of the first section of tunnel. That section was built in what is known as cut and cover. They did a cutting, built the tunnel, and then backfilled it, so it was a tunnel at the end of the day. This is what was air shaft number 3. In 1900 this was fully opened up. I'm not sure why, but it's opened up to the sky, this, or to the Haddon estate. Anyway, we're going to enter the next section of tunnel now. This is the board section. It's the deepest part, and it is massive. You want to look at this. Wow, look at the size of this. Just approaching air shaft number 4, you can see the arch is bricked, the roof is all bricked, and the walls and floor are all covered in calcite. That's from the water and limestone that's been draining in for many years. Right, we're looking up ventilation shaft number 4 now. This is the deepest one at 30 feet deep. You can see water's pouring down. We're underneath ventilation shaft number 4, the deepest one, 30 foot down, and water is pouring down here. I don't know if you can hear the water, but it's like filming in the rain. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you this sign in front. If you can read the figures, it's 151. So it's a very old sign, probably, and it signifies that we're 151 miles from London. So whether that was for information for the driver, or I'm not too sure. But see, actually, it's pouring down here, so I am going to move on now and get to a drier part of the tunnel. We're now at air shaft 5. Again, it's in the high section, so again, it's not causing a smoke trap here, it's to release the smoke. The tunnel will then drop down to a low profile. We're looking up at air shaft number 5 here. As you can see, it's only 6 foot deep. It's got a self-seeded tree growing out the brickwork. And here we've got the one and only railway sleeper that's left. That's another great shot, looking down from where we've come. You can see the silhouettes work out great. It's a matter of getting a lot of light in front of you so you'll form a silhouette. I'm looking down the final section of a low tunnel here. You can see there is a slight curve in the track, so you can't see the end of the tunnel. On the wall you can see lots of rusty steel brackets. These were used to support the signalling wires. Just arrived at catch pit number 18. As they're at 50-yard intervals, we know where we are. We know we're 900 yards into the tunnel, so we're near to the end now. As we wander further along this section, we can see we've got a drain entering the tunnel. It's interesting how they've carved a letter D in the stonework above. This is the bricked up Bakewell end of the tunnel. Luckily there's a hole being knocked through, so we can actually get out of the tunnel at this end. Out into the fresh air again now. This is the Bakewell end of the tunnel. As you can see, there's a hole knocked through the wall, allowing you to get out. I'm going to follow the route of the tunnel back now, following the air vents across the Haddon Hall estate, and I shall get back to where we started early on this morning. Air shaft number 5, this one. That's the one with the tree growing out the brickwork. This is air shaft 4. It's that really deep one. You can just see Haddon Hall through the trees. This is the open section, air shaft 3. Very awkward to find as it's in a wooded area and really overgrown. Air shaft 2, this one. Very overgrown again. I nearly couldn't find it, and I've got scratched to bits by all these brambles. Right, back at ventilation shaft number 1, where we set off earlier this morning. We've actually been in the tunnel 6 hours. You sort of get carried away taking photographs, but it's been a good day, and cost me anything, and really enjoyed it. From looking at this, I've been looking on the internet. There is loads of other railway tunnels, all sorts of things to go and explore, so we'll have to see for the future. Anyway, all I can say is thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, something a little bit different. I'm gonna head off home now, look at my photographs, see how they've worked out, and I'll leave you with a few of the photographs I took and the sounds of the steam age.